Hey guys, so in this video I wanted to take the time to address a comment that I saw on a Facebook group. So this was not a comment that was left under one of my videos, but I felt that I had some insight that I might be able to share that could help one of you guys if you work or interact with autistic students or autistic children in general, or possibly even autistic adults. So this question, like I said, was left in a Facebook group that I'm a member of. I think it's actually a paraprofessional group. So yeah, I'm going to read this person's comment, and it's more of a question than a comment, but then I will share my thoughts. So this person says, how can I help autistic students when they are upset? I know first then, but what about refusal all day long? Refusal even to take a break or go to the calm down area. Rebuttals of no, you go to calm down, no work time, no, you work first. Our teacher and aides are all trying but feel like we aren't getting anywhere. So I think first of all, having experience working one-on-one with autistic students myself over the beginning of this school year, I definitely encountered a lot of this. And I think one of the first things to remember when you find yourself in this situation is to exercise a lot of patience and be very flexible with your expectations. I think that is true from the very beginning of working in any special education sort of setting, but working with people who have autism in general, it is very important to be very patient and take into consideration all of the stimulation that they may have to deal with in whatever type of situation that you are walking into, because a lot of people with autism, at least that I have noticed, tend to get very overstimulated very easily, and it could be something that doesn't bother you whatsoever, but it definitely bothers them. And so it may be something as simple as letting them get up and walk around in terms of a student, or it may be something as simple as, you know, as long as they're not disrupting the rest of the class, or as long as they're not in harm's way, to just kind of step back and give them a moment. I just want to say that everybody has hard days, whether you are someone with a disability or not. And I'm sorry if you hear Augie snoring. So yeah. But anyways, everybody has bad days, and that is very true of someone who has autism. And sometimes you just need to kind of step back and let them try to go through whatever it is that they're going through without your interaction or interference. So one of the one-on-one students that I worked with from August until January, she was autistic, and there were days where she was just very into all of the learning material, where she would, you know, go through every single work center and do every worksheet and read a whole book to me as a kindergartner. And there were other days where she was just not interested in even sitting down at the table, even like going through any work centers. And what I would do is, I would try to redirect her, obviously, to go back to the table, or, you know, come sit down. I would use visuals. I would try all of the tricks that I had. And sometimes it was just one of those things where I didn't want to make her even more upset by continuing to push her to go back. And one of her teachers came to me, she would say that, you know, most of the time when I was the person that was in the classroom working with that particular student, she noticed a complete difference. Like when there were other people in the room working with her, she would spend most of the morning screaming, which did nothing for her education, did nothing for her classmates' education. Like, what are you getting out of that? And normally on the days where she was having a hard time and I pulled back, I would give her a fidget or something. If she got too loud, I would use visuals and, you know, I would go shh. And normally when I did that, she would also mimic what I was doing, and she would quiet down, even if it was just for a few minutes. I think that it's important to realize that everybody just needs a break sometime. I mean, When you are going to a class every single day for however many hours that you're there, would you be able to focus 100% of the time? Maybe as an adult, you'd be able to focus most of the time. But as a person who is neurodivergent, no. I mean, you wouldn't. I mean, I'm not even necessarily a neurodivergent person. I mean, yes, I do have learning disabilities, and I don't think about the world in the same way that most people would. Um, but, I wouldn't be able to focus for a whole, however long. And a lot of times, like her having a visual schedule would help her. Using fidgets to I would show her the fidget first of all. Like if she was not trying to come to the table, I would show her the fidget, and she always wanted that particular fidget. There was one little fidget that I still have actually. She always wanted that one. And so if she was like in the corner, or sitting like in the reading area, I would show her the fidget. And when she went to grab for it, I would say, you can have it. Let's go sit at the table. And you can have it at the table. And normally that would get her to at least sit at the table with her classmates. So I felt like even if I could get her to do something little like that, I found that she would be paying attention. She would be getting something out of the lesson. She might not like be looking at the board or, doing the worksheet, but later in the afternoon when she would be doing resource, I could have her go through and finish worksheets and things like that. But normally she would always be paying attention. And I just think that, yes, you should push your students to a certain extent, but there's some days that are just complete washes. If the child is not, like if their mind is totally against participating in class, sometimes there's just nothing you can do. You can try taking them for a walk. You can try like having them sit in a different area. You can try, different types of movement breaks and different activities. If you have like a resource room or something like that that you can take them to, sometimes that helps. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, like I said, they're just having a bad day and there's really nothing that you can do to get them out of that whole fixation of not working. I have had certain students that will sleep all day long, and you try to wake them up and they just get more angry. So you've learned, or I learned at least, to just leave them alone. Yes, there are certain times where you might think it doesn't look good on you if your student is just sleeping all day long, but you don't know what that student went through at home. You don't know what they deal with on a day-to-day basis. It may be a medical condition. It may be that something in the classroom is bothering them. It may be that, the child really needs to wear glasses and they can't concentrate in class because they can't see the board or something like that. You never know what the situation is. So I would say definitely try to figure out if there's something that is causing an issue for the student, if there's a particular classmate or something that's bothering them in the classroom, or, maybe they're just having a bad day. So I would say sometimes it's okay to let them have a break. Obviously, you don't want them to be doing that every day. So like I said, there is a point where you need to push them to try to complete their classwork. But at the same point, everybody needs a break sometime. Everybody has bad days. And I think it's just important to learn how to be flexible and be patient first and foremost. And like I said, as long as the student is not causing harm to themselves or to their classmates or disrupting the class, I would say sometimes they might just need to sit in a different area. I found with my one-on-one that I was telling you about that liked that fidget, sorry for the dog snoring, when the rest of her classmates went to the big carpet for like reading activities or other learning activities, or just the teacher reading them a book, I found that this particular student, there was a little, like a smaller circular rug that was just big enough for one student. And I found that by letting her sit there instead of right there where all her classmates are like really, really close and they're being loud and all that stuff, she liked to sit on the smaller rug so that she had space for herself. It was not like right in the middle of the hustle and bustle of the rest of her classmates, and she would sit there and listen. Did she always look at the board? Did she always look at the teacher? Did she always look at whatever they were going over? No. But she would sit there, she would be quiet. Sometimes she would pay attention, like real close, where she would be looking and interacting. Most of the time, even if she wasn't looking at the board, or like you could tell she was paying attention, she was paying attention, because I would watch her from like a few tables away, and she would be like mouthing whatever the teacher was going over in response. Like if the teacher would ask a question like, well, what is this word? Or, what comes next? Then, the student would sit there and she would mouth the answer, and it was usually correct. So don't think that your students aren't getting anything if they're not like focused on the board, or not always making eye contact with everybody or everything that's going on in the class, because they are still getting the information. It's just they're doing it in their own way. So anyways, I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any other questions relating to autism or special education or working as a paraprofessional, I'd be glad to answer your questions. If you have any medical related questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, please let me know. I'd be glad to get something filmed for you. And with that being said, I will talk to you guys next time.